Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben's award-winning podcast, as voted by Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and listeners. So if you're new to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, listen back to all our previous episodes, sit back, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's episode. Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. Well, it's now Wednesday and we're halfway through the week, which means we're halfway closer to the weekend, which I'm definitely looking forward to. I love being down on my allotment, especially all weekend, and getting down there, enjoying going live to my followers, answering questions, sharing what I'm up to down there, giving a tour around my plot. So if you're not following me on my Facebook page, make sure you give it a like, as you will be able to see my live tours, interact with me, and get to know me down on the allotment. So yeah, today's podcast is about garden answer. And I always get asked a lot of gardening questions. And how shall I put it? I don't know all the answers to the questions, and if you were to ask any celebrity gardener, they don't know all the answers to all the questions, because the one thing about gardening is that we are forever learning. And I mean that because when you do gardening, there's old wives' tales, what people have used in the past, and they stick to. A bit like I plant my potatoes on Good Friday every year, and even though Good Friday moves, I always stick to planting them on Good Friday. And the same goes for another one, that you should plant your tomato seeds on Boxing Day, I think it is the other one, which I never do. I don't do that one. But yeah, if somebody were to ask me a gardening question, my answer would be based on what I have done, because I may have tried it and it may have succeeded or it may have failed. And I'll always tell people if I do not know the gardening answer to the question, because I'd rather not lie or make it up and share the wrong information than give the correct answer. So if I'm doing like a Facebook Live and people ask me a gardening question and it's totally something that I have no idea about, I'll just say, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that question, but does anybody else who's watching live know the answer? Because they may have done it themselves. They may have grown a certain item, a certain flower, a certain herb, and they may have had great success from it. And often I always say I don't know much about flowers. I really do need to learn a lot more about flowers. I'm learning bits and bobs as we get along, as I've learned bits about sweet peas, about growing marigolds, about growing sunflowers. I had some fantastic sunflowers this year, really impressed with them. I need to save all the seeds from them. But again, I don't know all the answers to herbs. Herbs are something I need to learn about. And as a couple of podcasts ago, I was talking about growing mint, and I didn't realise how many varieties of mint there actually is. But now I've looked into it, I know a lot more about different varieties of mint. So the more you ask questions, the more you will learn about stuff. And this is the best thing about me doing these gardening podcasts, is because if I want to talk about a subject, I will have a look beforehand, I will research about it, I'll look on the internet, on the YouTube videos, and look around in books to find out information to share with you. I don't know all the gardening answers to the questions. I just enjoy finding out information, learning about it, and sharing it with everybody, and obviously trying out these tips and advice myself as well, because some of the stuff is based on what I have done or some of the stuff is based on what I have read, as that's the only way you learn how to do things in gardening. Also, gardening is about trial and experiment. You're always trying different methods to learn new ways, and there's new methods coming along always, everywhere, and people get onto these little trials and they do it themselves, and if they like the idea, that's how it gets carried forward. It's a bit like how I learnt about growing carrots in plastic tubes, because it helps them grow long and keeps them straight. So it's all these different things. If people didn't try different ways and methods, you wouldn't get new ways of growing. And that's the same as when people are developing new fruit and vegetables and flowers. They try different methods, and that's how they create different varieties of things. So without knowing all the answers, it's about experimenting, trying it your way. You don't have to try it everybody else's way or my way. Experiment, learn. If it works, share the idea with people, and then they can do it themselves. If not, keep it under your radar. But no, I honestly don't know all the answers to the questions. I know bits and bobs about fruit and vegetables. Like I say, I've been doing this 16, 17 years gardening on my allotment now, and I'm still learning new stuff every single day. I really do need to do a course on gardening or something along them ways, just to learn more and more about it, and so that I feel a bit of an expert. I'm definitely not an expert. I may have won Best Gardening Podcast Award, but I'm no expert whatsoever. Everything I have learned myself, and I just share and give advice on what I know. So never go off my advice as gospel, because it is what I've tried or what I have learned. So I hope you've enjoyed this gardening podcast today. It's been a bit of a different one. It's saying that not everybody knows the gardening answer to the question. Research, have a look around, and try the method yourself. Until next time, remember, keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. Feel free to share them on your Instagram stories so that it spreads the word about my podcast and we get lots more listeners. Feel free to check out my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram as well, Gardening with Ben, and also my YouTube channel, to stay up to date with all my handy videos, how-to videos, and sharing my tips and advice. And feel free to check the link as well in the description for my Gardening with Ben t-shirts. Lots of funny gardening design t-shirts in there for you to purchase at great prices too. So thanks again, and as always, remember, keep smiling and keep gardening.